So welcome to Challenge the Road. Let's talk about McLaren. Over 400 million pumped into the company since March, another 80 million last week. Where's it going? Let's talk about my ownership, values, and what I would buy today. So let's go through McLaren. At the moment, the racing team, I love Lando Norris there. I think it's going fantastically well, and hopefully they can get past Red Bull one day. But road cars is a different thing, manufacturing, all these challenges. Now, I just want to have a chat with you and just go through my ownership, my feelings, and where I feel it's going to go in the future. But for now, I love McLaren cars. I really wanted a McLaren, really wanted one. The 12C was coming out. He had the 458, and I thought, oh, which one? And then I saw some reviews, and a lot of people didn't like that MC12. So I didn't actually go that way. I waited. The 675 LT come out, and I wanted it. And I had a feeling it was going to be like the 45 Speciale that I owned, and it was going to hopefully go up in value. I ended up buying 3 of them, which was crazy. Probably one of the worst decisions I've ever made. But at the time, I thought it was going to be the right car. I bought 2 coupes and 1 Spider. Lost a load of money on them. Had a lot of trouble even trying to sell them. But I couldn't get my head around it because I thought, this is a fantastic car. Fantastic to drive. Now, on from there, I then went with one of the cars. I thought, I've got to get out of this car because it was dropping. And I went to a 600 LT Spider, which we'll go through a bit later, but I think that's a fantastic car. Now, ownership now, I have a McLaren P1, the only carbon purple P1 in the world. Really enjoying that car, even though I never really get to see it or drive it. Hopefully I will one day. That's for a next video. But what we need to do is just have a little idea of some of the stories I've got about McLaren and ownership. So I got a phone call from a dealer, and they said, Richard, would you like a Senna? And I said, yeah, I'd love a Senna. Now, there was no pictures at the time. I got taken to McLaren, to the factory, went round the head office, and spoke with the guys and said, look, I've got 675 LTs. They said, Richard, you haven't got enough cars. I said, right, okay, well, how many cars do I need to get a Senna? They said, well, one of every range we've brought out. So you need 12C Spider, 650. I'd have to remember them all, 650S Spider, up until 675 LT. So it was quite a lot of cars. And I was thinking, well, I'm not going to do that. Because I could see where that market was going with them, and they were going to sort of crash down. And I thought, well, if I had to pay overs for one, I would. Then when the Senna come out, I don't know about you, but the looks of the Senna, I think for me it has to be in black or a carbon edition. I don't think it looks the best. And the representation of Ayrton Senna to me and the way he was, I'm not sure that design is right for him. And I know that might be controversial, but that's my feeling on it. I think that it's a bit all over. I think it should have had a different engine. I think that's one of the the points with McLaren that we come to, is that they've all got a turbo V8. I would have maybe put a V10 in that if that was to be something that was different, that it's a Senna car. But I don't appreciate your thoughts on that. They're just my opinion. So I went there, done that, and decided not to get a Senna. I didn't really know what the prices were going to be back then, but I did go to McLaren, and back then McLaren was just buzzing. My friend Simon Reynolds was there. He was running the junior programs. He was also running the physio side and strength and conditioning for the F1 team, and it had a buzz about it. I haven't been back, so I don't know how that buzz is now, but they were sort of Ron Dennis days coming through, so it was obviously peak time for them, and Ron was so influential in McLaren at the time. Coming forward to now, obviously I've just got the one McLaren, which is the P1, and the reasoning behind that is I feel that's one of the ones that's going to appreciate. And if you watch my channel, and that's what I like to do. I like to buy appreciating cars. I don't overly like losing money of them. So that's where I am with ownership. Now we move on to values. Right, so let's go on to values, and let's start with that Senna story. If we're on Auto Trader now, I can see that there's 5 for sale. I can see Smee's car here, and it's up for 660,000. Now, I had a look back through his channel, and I love the blue he's done. It's a fantastic car. He originally paid, I think, about 840,000. So this is a 2019 car. Now, this is a limited edition car, but with Ferraris, normally you'd see an appreciation, but you're just not seeing that with some of these Sennas. They're not all massively under, but there is a depreciation there. And this Senna's been there a while as well. So from the Senna's point of view, I don't know whether it was just more of a track car than a road car. And I think the looks are decisive. I mean, I've seen them in carbon and I do think they look amazing, but that's the values of the Senna. Now, some of the other cars, a 12C, I've seen them down in the sort of 50, 60s. They were sort of 240s, 250. I've seen 650Ss. I saw an MSO car go through collecting cars, I think for about 83 plus fees. Very high option car, maybe at 280s, 300s. So you can see 200,000 depreciation on McLarens. We go to 675s because that was a car that I had as well. So let's just go 675 LT, 11 for sale. They were probably originally retailing about 250, 260, maybe Spiders a little bit more depending on options, but you're now here looking at 189 as one of the lowest. There's another 189, 199. So they've depreciated a bit. Now, I think that 675 LT was the car that everyone thought would go up and different things. But I've got a few bits on that car that I think hold it back. Now, I know at a time, especially earlier in the year, everyone was going, buy a 675 LT, they're going to go up. Well, they haven't gone up. And I'm not sure they will. And there's a couple of reasons, really. Very difficult to get in and out of. Now, most people who buy these cars are older people because they've got money, and I found it difficult, and I don't think it's the best thing getting in and out of. The lights at night, very, very poor visibility on them. I think the other problem I had was the lift was very slow, and also I was grounding out a lot on my drive out. I think you never like that noise, you know, when you're out going along. So I think the 675 LT to drive, fantastic. I think it would be great on a track. Not sure as a road car again, but we'll go on to that when we go which one would I buy. But values of these do look fantastic, don't they? If you're in the market for one, it's a very, very good price. And if you're driving it now and then, it's a fantastic car. So P1, we need to just have a look at them. Now the P1's a tricky one because P1s haven't been selling that quickly. And obviously I've got one. But I think they're just the type of car that are going to go up overnight. And I think it's just a case of just holding your patience, hold. And at some point they're going to go up because I think it's a plug-in hybrid. So it's going to give you availability anywhere in the world for a long time because you've got that range. The LaFerrari didn't have that, but the 918 did. So that was a real pulling point to buying a P1. I do think it looks fantastic. I don't know what you guys think. I think in the future that's going to be one of the best looking cars. I mean, in the carbon purple, I think it looks just incredible. So value wise, they come out at about 875, so 875,000 options. You're probably £1 million, and they're up about 1.3, 1.4. More in America, which is, you know, a lot of the cars are, but I think they will start to go. That's just a matter of time because there's battery options now on that car. Now, the values have started to sort of level a bit because there's companies like VE Engineering, which are now doing servicing and are really top engineers for P1, but also for 675. And I think their business is going to really grow now because we need them. I think that some of the costs from McLaren are quite high, and also back in the time, it was very difficult to get a service and a slot, and it just all seemed like it took a long time to do. So that's sort of a little bit on values. What I think we do is see which one I would buy next. So which one would I buy? I think I would buy a 600 LT Spider, and I've got some notes here that I'm looking at the time, but I would sort of disregard a coupe at the moment. For me, when McLaren brought out the Spider, I thought the Spider looks just the same as a coupe. So in my mind, if I've got the ability to have both, why wouldn't I? And I think that affected McLaren quite a bit as well. I would probably prefer McLaren to almost bring out Spider versions in what we call their sort of road cars, and then Ultimate Series maybe go coupe. I think people would just pay a bit more anyway and would rather have the ability to have both. And as I say, they look fantastic with that up or down. There's a lot in the news at the moment that McLaren are losing money and there's more money being pumped in, but they've obviously got very, very wealthy backers. I'm not sure that will be a problem, but it could be. And I know the auditors are not happy at the moment. I'll put up, I'll find the article here for you, but it says, and that's just talking about what I would buy from what value. So it says McLaren is given another 80 million from Bahraini owner to help ease the crisis. The total amount of handouts since March is 450 million. Auditors have already warned about McLaren's future. Beleaguered supercar maker McLaren has had to ask for millions more pounds from its Bahrain-based owner. Now, future cars for them, the Artura I'm just not seeing. I know there's some on Auto Trader for sale and that, but I know they've had a huge amount of problems with that car. And that worries me. And where's that going to go? I did have a look on how many left and who's been buying what, but it seems like there's almost 3 times as many 296 Ferrari sales than Artura. So where does it leave them? I don't know. I don't know whether they should have brought an SUV. I know that sounds crazy, or they just stick with ultra high performance for the very, very high net worth individuals who will pay 2-3 million for a car. I think they're stuck. Not sure where the way out is. They probably know more than me because they're there, but I'm not sure where it is. I wouldn't be interested in an Artura, and I wouldn't pay 2 or 3 million for another car at ultimate level. So I don't know where they are. The other manufacturers brought out SUVs. You're seeing Ferrari bring out an SUV at 400k. I'd never buy that, but they are 400, 500k, a lot of money. The Urus was a car that I said I don't understand at all, and yet it's been overs for ages. I think that's dropping off now. But there is a demand for SUV, and they are making a lot of money through it. Good luck to them. But I think if you're going to go SUV, you have to go hybrid. I think that the future of a V12 SUV wouldn't be good for me going forward. That's just my view on it. So just going back to what I would buy, I think 600 LT Spider, I think looks fantastic value. I do keep looking at buying them on there, and they do keep going, not down in value, but down in numbers. So it's quite tricky to buy one because they've done some carbon pack 1, 2, 3 in this car, and they're quite hard to get. I just think for that type of money, when you've got a realm of cars at 150 now, lots, 150 to 200, it's just, if you've got that range to buy a car, supercar, it's a dream range. So many, you go Porsche, Ferrari, and like mega cars, not just like, oh, that's quite a good car. No, they're all unbelievable. So 600 LT for me, I think that's where I would put my money. Spider, got to be a Spider. So that's where I'll go. So hope this video helps you, and I'll see you again soon.